Number 2. Welcome back to my second case study. We've got an Audi A6 in the workshop today. It's coming with a radio fault. Radio don't work, no sounds coming out of it, but he has got the hands-free function still available. So we're going to use a program called VCDS. I've only used it a couple of times. I'm still not overly confident on it, but there's only one way to learn really, and it's to use it. So we're going to get the laptop out, we're going to plug it in, because if one of the modules goes down, the rest of them go down with it. So that scan kind of determines which direction we're going to be looking in. So let's get the laptop out and let's have a look. So here we go. We've got information display, fault in there. We've got control head unit fault, another control head unit fault, functionality limited due to missing messages fault, and another one for communication disruption for the head unit. So with that, we are going to go straight to the head unit. I'm going to pull the wiring diagram up, make sure we got our live, our earth, our communication, everything's all good. But that should be the realistic starting point of today. So let's go do that. I'm going to get the diagram up and then I'm going to meet you back at the computer and we'll explain what we're going to look at. Right, so I have got the screen out, but this is the wiring diagram for it. What we're doing is we're ignoring this part. We don't need to worry about that. We need to worry about this is going to be our earth and this is our live. So let's go to the screen, make sure we've got our live and earth, and we'll go from there. Right, so we've got the screen out, we've got the ignition on, so let's test our earth. As you can see, we've got a good earth. Now let's test the live. And look at that, we've only got 1 volt on it. Now, these wiring diagrams are a bit tricky to get the head round because we've got to go through a load of different wiring diagrams to basically read one. We've got to read another because they don't all link up. Because they all link up in a certain way and it's all a bit confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the whiteboard, and as we're going, we're going to write it down because now we know we've lost power somewhere. We're losing power somewhere. There should be about 12 volt in there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to the whiteboard and I'm going to write that down. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And then we're going to go to wherever this wire leads to. On the wiring diagram, we're going to go to wherever that leads to, test there. But let's go to the whiteboard quickly. Right, here we go. So this is where we're going to start. We've got screen. And on pin 4, we've got 1.1 volts. And just to make it easier, I'm going to write the page number in case we do need to go back to it. We've got the page number there. So let's find out what's here. And for your benefit, I've already done it. So this is the screen. So this is the module we just tested. This is our live. We know our earth's good, so we can forget about the earth. We've got to run all the way through the live. So down here, you've got numbers. These are kind of like wire numbers. All we've got to do is follow this one. So we know that live is on wire 64. We've now got to find 159. And as you can see down here, we've come to this diagram now. So we've got 159. We need to follow that up. And here it is. So we know that it's fused. So what we need to do now is find fuse SC2. Make sure our fuse is good. And then we'll go from there. But I'm going to go find that fuse quickly. Make sure it's not blown or anything like that. And I'm going to show the testing. Right, so there she is. That one there is our fuse. So let's turn the ignition on. Grab the trusty power probe. Let's see what we got. Right, so we know that fuse isn't blown because it's still giving out voltage. It is, again, still only 1 volt or around 1.2 volts. So let's add that to the diagram quickly. I'll explain where we're going to go from there. Right, so back on the diagram, wipe that off. Now we know what's there. We know that comes down to fuse SC2. And we are giving out, again, 1.1 volt. And for my benefit later, we got number 110, 13. So we now need to find out what's powering the front fuse. So what I've done is I've gone to the fuse assignment diagram and found our module. So this is the head unit we've just tested all the way up to this fuse, which we know has still got our 1.1 volt. And this then goes out of here, gets its power from, like I explained earlier, we now need to go find 440 on the diagram, which is here. So this is where our front fuse is getting its power. So it's coming up here. It's going all the way down into SF3. The head unit's being powered by the front fuse, and that front fuse is then being powered by the rear fuse. So what we need to do now is go find this fuse in the rear fuse box and test what we got here. Right, so we've come to the rear. This is the fuse we're looking at, this 15 amp here. And as you can see on the power probe, we're still getting 1 volt, 1.1 volt. So, let's walk it back over it. So, back to our diagram. Go like that. We now know there's another fuse here. We've got SF2, which is a fuse. We know we've still got 1.1 volt, and the page number for this is 9933. So, what we've got to do now is find out what is powering this fuse. It's a very long-winded and confusing diagram. If you don't write it down and you're trying to work it all by memory, which is why we have written it down on a whiteboard, it can become a real pain in the backside. So we have written it down to make it easier. We've now got to find what is powering this. What we've got to do is follow that up. So that comes from the rear fuse, it goes up and it comes out on line 58. So we go find line 58, which we've found here, 58. And it's this wire we're looking at, and it comes down into this module. This is a voltage stabilizer module. So what we now got to do is go find this and test what we got on pin 7, see if we've got 1.1 volt still or the 12 volt like we should have. So let's go find this, get pin 7 exposed and back test it from there. Right, so this is our voltage stabilizer module. And this one here, this wire here, the white and red one, that is our pin 7. So what we need to do is back test that. Turning the ignition on might help. So we've got our back probe pin. And look at that. We've got 11.8 volt. Right, so like you've just seen, we've got 11.8 volt on that. So our fault, we now know where the fault lies. Our fault is lying between the voltage stabilizer module and the rear fuse box. So the fault's between here and there. I know it's a small distance, but this wire could go anywhere. It could go all the way up here, through there, splice off, come back to the fuse box. We just don't know. So as much as it may sound easy, the lengths we've gone to get to this point has taken quite a while. It's taken about 12 different wiring diagrams to get to here. There's so much information involved, and it's all main dealer diagrams, which is why they are a little bit difficult to follow. But what we've got to do now is actually find the fault, find what's happening, why the voltage is dropping, whether we've got a broken wire, a corroded wire, a little bit of a splicing problem from factory maybe, we don't know. So what I've got to do now is basically play follow the wire again. I've got to manually go through and find what is wrong with that wire from that module to the fuse box, because it's the only place it can be now. But as you can see, getting to this point has taken ages. Some people think it's simple. It's bloody not. Right, so we're in the boot now. it's a complete mess of just disarray of wires. This is the wire we're looking at. That's the one. And there's 3 white and red wires here that all come from that module. So these 3 are all spliced together somewhere in there. So I've now got the really fun job of going through all of that rat's nest and finding out where that connection is, because that is, I can say with a lot of confidence, going to be where our problem lies. So I'll catch up with you for you it'll be a couple of minutes, for me it'll take ages, but I will see you soon. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so after a lot of backwards and a forwards and a forwards and a backwards of trying to find where this wire goes to, pull back a bit of sleeving and look what we found. So the wire comes out of here, and we're going to follow it all the way up, and it goes into, like we thought, a splice connection. 2 wires coming in, 3 wires coming out. I haven't opened it up yet. I thought I'd wait until I get the camera out and I'll show you what's in there. Now this is a factory join. Oh, couldn't even get the casing off. Look at that. Couldn't even get the tape off without it breaking. So there is our problem. Now, as much as people think the customers come in, we just plug the machine in and it tells us where the issue is, what the issue is, and exactly what it is, it's not that simple. No scanner in the world was ever going to tell us that there's a splice connection in the back that was corroded and on its way out. So it was just sheer perseverance and knowing how to read the diagrams that got us to this point, and it has taken quite a while. But it was one of their more involved jobs compared to something else. But no computer in the world is ever going to tell you you've got a broken wire like that. So let's get a repair done, and I'll catch up with you in a minute after I've shown you what I've done. Right everybody, so I've done the repair in the loom. She's all back together. Now let's go see if it works. So there's the screen. Let's turn the ignition on. Oh yeah, look at that. It's all good. Right, now let's make sure it goes back in. Look at that. It's all done. It's all working hunky-dory. The volume works. I've had a little fiddle around with the radio and audio. Everything else works on there. So all of that, I'll show you what the car looks like, the state of the car. Both side panels out. Part of the radio trims around the dash out for the radio. Boot in shambles. All just for them splices under the fuse box. What can you do? Some jobs are easy, some jobs are hard. But it's all done. Perseverance. So let's get this shambles all back together. Yeah, make sure everything's working on the car. And then she's all good to go. Right everybody, just because we're at the end of the job, I'll just run you through what the testing procedure was. We started at the head unit, which is a screen. We ran it back to the fuse 2 in the front. And then we ran that one back to the fuse 2 in the back. We're still running on 1.1 volt to this point. We went down right to the voltage stabilizer, which is all the power. This gives all the power to everything else when we were running on near enough 12 volt. So we knew that the problem was going to be in this region here, to which it was. There was a splice for the fuse box. Obviously, it corroded away. We've since repaired it. It's all good in the hood. And yeah, it's ready to go. Let us know how we did. Drop me a little like, little comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. A bit of a long-winded one. It was definitely a battle for this repair. It wasn't the easiest diagnosis in the world. Obviously, like I said earlier, the scanners don't fix the cars. We went through a million wiring diagrams to get to the end point. It's a bit of a devil in disguise. If we started at the back, it would have been the easiest job in the world. But because we had started at the front, where we should have and where we knew what we were going to have, sort of, it was easier to then run it all the way through. But dealer diagrams can be a nightmare sometimes. Millions of different pages. It's not all in one big diagram like auto data is most of the time. But like I said, let me know how it did. Drop us a little like, little comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey.